Have you ever been worried about what am I going to do if my car breaks down in the bush? Well, it happened to me on the weekend, so in this video I'm going to give you some ideas and tips and ways of thinking about it if that happens to you. Here at Mad Matt 4 Drive, I'm all about educating and building the four-wheel drive community so that we can go wheeling well. So what happened is my son and I were out four-wheel driving. We were having a fantastic time. We were hitting a little bit of mud, we were doing some rock climbs. We even came across a Volkswagen Combi that was out there having a bit of a wheel and doing some great stuff as well. In the midst of all of that, I was coming up a rock climb. I had front lockers in, rear locker in, and a few rock steps. I'm climbing up, and all of a sudden I heard this big bang! And I thought, that's not good. Now, because of the sound, I knew that it wasn't the rear differential, and I knew that it was at the back of the car. 80 series Land Cruisers are prone to having their axle drive studs here break, and I was pretty sure that's what had happened. So I jumped out of the car and I came around, and sure enough, the axle was sitting like that. The wheel was still on it though, just if you were worried. Okay, so oil's pouring out, and it's a mess. You look at this and you go, what on earth will I do to fix it? Well, what I say to people in this situation is have stuff that can fix stuff. Best thing you can do when this happens is have a toolbox with a basic set of tools. You want to have in that toolbox some bits of some wire, some tie wire. You want a bunch of cable ties, big ones, small ones, a few electrical connections, a little bit of electrical wire. You want to have a bit of tape, like gaffer tape, electrical tape. Maybe a soldering iron could be in there as well. You want to have some nuts and bolts, a selection of them that are going to suit your vehicle. So in a Toyota, it's going to be metric nuts and bolts. Go to a wrecking yard, find a Toyota, and just start pulling off bolts off that vehicle that's going to suit your vehicle. Okay, you want to have a bunch of stuff that can fix stuff. And then in the situation, most of the time we're out wheeling with people, or we're wheeling with people in an area where there are other people. Somebody may come along, or one of your mates who's with you may just need to have access to tools and gear that can fix stuff. And between the lot of you, you look at the gear and you go, well, I don't really understand how all this works, but I guess we've got to keep the oil and grease in there, and we don't want mud to get in there, so can we use an old stubby cooler to jam it up in there, and can we do this and that to make it work? Yeah, you can. Do that then. In my case, I figured I've got some axle studs. I wonder if I can get the axle to actually bolt back up into place. So I got in there and I was able to get 3 of the broken studs out of the holes by using a little screwdriver and a hammer and just tapping them, and got them out. And then I got 3 studs and I put them into place, and that was enough with a bit of gaffer tape to hold the axle in and stop the oil coming out and give me a little bit of drive to that wheel. And that got me going fairly well. Where we broke down, we were still a fair way from the bitumen, so we had a lot of four-wheel driving to do. And we did that and found some mud all of the time on this half-repaired axle. Now, it did finally break on me. I heard that noise again, and the axle came out like that. So in this case, I was close enough to the blacktop that I gone, I don't actually need the axle. So I pulled it out, and I remained in four-wheel drive, and I drove home on the front differential. And all I did was I blocked all of this up with some rag and some stubby coolers, and I shoved a rag up inside there to keep the diff oil in the hole. And that got me about 200 kilometres back home. So now I'm sitting at home and I'm about to repair this. I'm going to do some upgrades. And if you'd like to find out what I do to repair it and get it myself back on the road, well, here's a link to that video. I'm Mad Matt. Stay safe on the trails.